Hi guys, it's Surya and today I'm going to be teaching you how to solve the axis cube, except this is going to be a really shortened tutorial. I've explained in full detail last week. You should check out that video as well. So this is a shape mod of the 3x3, which means it's the same logic but just a different shape, and it looks really intimidating. So let's get into it. At first, this cube seems to make no sense at all. You hold it like this, you get a weird movement this way and another movement this way. Nothing seems to make sense at all. This design looks weird. It's just really confusing. And if you go too far in the jumbling, you just get lost and you can't even get back because of how weirdly it's shaped. So now if you just play around with it for a little while, you see patterns that start to emerge. You see that whenever you move a layer, all the pieces except this one actually move. This one just rotates. So you'd assume that this is a center, right? And you would be correct. This one is a center, in fact. And once you come to the realization that these pieces are centers, everything starts to make sense. So this must be a center. You point it this way, you can actually see these lines. This is exactly like a 3x3. I've given more explanation on this in my full explanation of the axis cube. I know it's a long video, but yeah, that's a really good explanation of how the axis cube is similar to the 3x3. So you should check that out. So anyway, this is really similar. It's just a shape mod, in fact, a shape modification. So we know that this is a center. So that means this piece rotates like this. These pieces are edges. And yeah, even though these two pieces are different from each other, they're both edges. I know it looks really weird, but yeah. And these would be corners. Even though these two pieces look different from each other, they're both corners. That looks really weird, in fact. Now even this would be a center. It does look like a center now. So as long as you have these 4 dots visible, you know you're holding the cube in the right way. If you ever get lost, just remember to do that. Now whenever you're solving the cube, you can do it slowly. There's no need to rush or anything. Just rotate the cube slowly if you ever have to turn it. There's no need to like go really fast and then just get lost in the cube, because this cube is so confusing that even I get lost once in a while. There's nothing to worry about there. So now that we know how this works, let's get into how to solve it. First, let's solve the first layer of the axis cube. I know this looks really intimidating and whatnot. So let's just go really slowly, but not too slowly, of course. So I'm just going to pick any center to start with. Now we don't have a white center since each center has 2 different colors. So I'm just going to go to the closest one. I'm going to take white and red. So let's just start with the white cross. I know I said white, but these are 2 colors and I'm just going to call it white, okay? So let's start with these 4 edges. So whenever we have any center, each one has a short side and a long side. The 2 edges that are closest to the short side will be both trapeziums. I just call them flat edges. So this should be near a short side over here. And the ones near the long side would both be these bent edges, the ones with 2 colors. So now that we know that, let's go into it. So first we need a white flat edge over here. We have one, it's right here. So let's just bring it in there. It needs to be right there. So how do we take it? We just rotate this side. But we see that it doesn't match properly, and that's because the edge is flipped in its place. So for that, we just solve it like we would in a 3x3. Just rotate this, move this to the side and bring this up. That puts it in the right orientation, makes it flat. So we've solved this one. Let's go to the next. This one also needs a flat edge, except it's red. So we have one over here. Let's bring that there. Just rotate it. This one also does not match, which means it's flipped. So let's just unflip it. There you go. So these 2 are now correctly oriented. Let's go into the last 2, which will both be bent edges. Now I know this looks really confusing and it's hard to tell which bent edge you need, because there's one center over here and there's one over here, and the bent edge has 2 colors. There's going to be 2 bent edges that are of white color, if that made sense. We just have to take both of them and match them and see which one fits. So we have one over here. Let's match it in and see if it fits. So this one does not seem to match. If it doesn't match physically, it really wouldn't match if you flipped it, because this is actually a parallelogram and flipping it would just exchange these two long sides that would still make it stick out. So this is not going to fit at all, which means this would actually go in there, and we'll go into that one later. So let's find the other one. Where is it? Let's just search, go really slow, there's no rush. We found another one, it's over here. So we need to get that over there. How do we do that? We can just rotate the side twice and just turn this once. Now we see that even though the colors don't match, this seems to physically match. It's kind of like a smooth piece. Don't worry about these centers yet, we'll align them later. So let's go into this one first. We need to flip it. So we just do exactly what we did with the flat edges. So let's turn that, and now it seems to match properly. You can see that it's starting to look kind of neat now. Let's go into the last one. We need a red and a something bent edge. Let's start with this one. This one does not match physically, so this one's not the right one, no matter how you put it. Let's go into the next one. This is a red and a green. This one does seem to physically match, and just by coincidence it also matches in color, so that solves this. Now the reason why I prefer choosing one center all the time is because the moment you get that one center, you can start memorizing which flat edges need to go where and which bent edges need to go where. So for example, I always take white and red. That way I always know that the bent edges that are there are white and green and red and green, so you never have to search with the rest of the bent edges. You don't have to keep checking if they match or not. So yeah, that's why I always find it important to do that. But there's nothing wrong with checking each and every time. There's nothing wrong with that at all. If you're still practicing, I recommend you do that. So now that we've solved the white cross, let's go into solving the white corners. So now let's go into how to solve the corners. It's the same as in the 3x3. So let's just go over that real quick. Let's start with this one. We point the cube this way. We see that there are 4 to solve. So let's start with this piece. We need a white flat corner. It looks like a triangle. So we found one over here. So now to bring it in, let's first see which way it matches. To that, just hold the cube like this to do that, and just rotate it in both directions to see which one matches. So first let's rotate it along this axis. It does not match, which means that this piece does not have to go in this way. Now let's rotate it this way and see. This piece does match now, so this piece needs to go in there. In some situations this one won't match in either one. I'll explain what to do then in a minute. So let's match this one. Let's solve this one. This needs to go there. So let's move this to the side, bring this down, bring this back, and bring it up. That solves this piece. Let's go to the next one. This one. Does it match here? No. Does it match here? Yes. So this piece needs to go there. Let's solve that one. That solves it. Let's go on to the next one. So this piece needs to go there. Does it match this way? Yes, it does. So this needs to go there. Let's move it to the side, bring it down, bring it back, and bring it up. Let's do the last one, which is this. This will not be a flat corner, it will be a bent corner. So let's search for that. It shouldn't be too difficult. In an axis cube, there are only 2 bent corners. So this one, we found it. Does it match this way? No, it does not. Does it match this way? Yes, it does. So this needs to go in there. So let's solve that. So that solves the first layer. You can see that. Now let's go into what to do if it doesn't match in either one. So here we have a corner that doesn't match in either way. If we turn it this way, it does not match. We turn it this way, it does not match. So in this situation, here's what you do. You bring it right under where it needs to go. It needs to go right there. And here's what you do. You move the side down once, move the bottom layer twice. That twists the piece once, so now you can just solve it the regular way. Now let's see which way it matches. It matches in this way. So this piece needs to go in there. Let's just do what we did earlier. And that solves the first layer. Now let's go into orienting these centers correctly and then solving the second layer. So to orient these centers, we use the same logic as we did in the Fisher cube. so that shouldn't be too difficult. Let's just check which all match. This one does match, we can see that. Let's go on to the next one. This one does not match. We need the tall part of the center to be over here, so let's do that. We just move this side twice and move the bottom layer twice. Now we set this edge 180 degrees away from where it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to be oriented this way. We know that because the green side is over here. We can always check by just solving it, I guess. That does kind of match. This is the green side, but by doing that we've set this in the wrong way, which is why we need to set it 180 degrees away from where it's supposed to be. So let's do that. Move it away. Supposed to move it exactly half a turn away. So now it matches perfectly. So that solves this center. Let's go on to the next one. We just need this to match with this layer. So let's move this side twice. Move this layer away. Now let's set it in, say, this way. Does it match? No. Let's move it once more. Does it match? Yes, it does. Now let's move it back. That solves this one as well. Let's do the last one. Move the bottom layer twice. And does it match this way? No. Oops. Move it away. Turn it once more. Does it match this way? No. Move once more. Does it match? Yes, it does. So let's move this here. So that solves all the centers, I suppose. Let's just check. Yep, that's all 4. Now let's go on to solving the second layer. Now solving the second layer of the axis cube is relatively simple. We just use the same logic as we did in the 3x3. Let's start with this one, I suppose. Now that we've finished this layer and oriented these edges, these centers, we can just keep this layer below us because all the pieces we need are over here. So let's start with this one. We need a flat green edge. Let's search for that. We found it. It's over here. So this piece needs to go in this way. It can't go in this way because this is the taller side of the piece and we need the shorter side to be in here. We can always check by just turning this way once. It doesn't match. But when we try to turn it in this way, it does match. So this piece needs to go in there. We do what we would in the 3x3. Up clockwise, right side clockwise, up anti-clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, up anti-clockwise, front anti-clockwise, up clockwise, front clockwise. That solves this one. Let's go on to the next one, which is this. We need a bent edge of white and orange. So let's search for that. White and orange. We found it. It's over here. We need white to be in the bottom part, which means the piece has to go in this way. You can always check. It does match. So we do exactly as we did earlier. That solves this one. Let's go on to the next one. We need a blue flat edge. Let's search for that. It's over here. Now we need the taller side of it to go inside. It doesn't match when we send in the shorter side. So this needs to go in there. Same thing again, interestingly. We're not getting anything where it needs to go to its left. I'll do that in a second, just to explain that too. So now we need a red and a yellow. This one. And this one also needs to go to its right. I'm not doing this on purpose. So let's do that again. Let's go ahead. And let's see what to do if it needs to go in this way or if it's in its place but flipped. So now we have this piece which needs to go in this way. You can check, it does match. So in this situation, here's what you do. Up anti-clockwise, left side anti-clockwise, up clockwise, right, left side clockwise, up clockwise again, front clockwise, up anti-clockwise, and front anti-clockwise. That solves this one. And now let's see what to do if the piece is in its place but flipped. So here we have a piece that's in its place but flipped. Now in this situation, we just pretend that a different piece has to go in there. Once that happens, this piece will automatically be pushed out of place and then we can put it in the right way. So let's just imagine that this piece needs to go there. So let's do the algorithm for that. that's been put in there, and this piece has been removed. Now let's put it in the right way. This piece needs to go in there. So let's do the algorithm for it. That solves the second layer. Now let's go on to doing the last layer. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, the last layer is very challenging when you're still solving the last layer, like solving it, not rearranging it, because all these pieces are twisted up and you have to keep checking which orientation they're in. So really just go really slow, take your time, and I'm gonna help you out with it. So first let's solve the yellow cross. I know I keep saying yellow, but in reality there are two colors to this. But when I say yellow, I just mean last layer. Just keep that in mind. So let's solve the yellow cross. So let's just see what situation we have. We can do that by matching each edge to its place and seeing if it matches or not. Let's start with this one. Where does this match? It's supposed to go in here, but it doesn't match properly, which means it's flipped. So let's just keep our finger on that to mean that it's not up, it's down. So let's take a look at the next. This is a blue and a yellow. It matches over here, but not in terms of color. So this one also does not match. Let's check this. This one does not match. So none of these match. Let's check the last one. Does it match? No. None of them match, which means we have a dot. Just ignore the corners while we solve the edges. We have a dot, which is the first situation we can get. None of these pieces are up. So here's what we do. You just go to any side. You do what you would in the 3x3. Front clockwise, right side clockwise, up clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, up anti-clockwise, and front anti-clockwise. So that brings us to the next situation, which is the hook. I know I haven't like analyzed it or anything yet. I only said it because I already know what's gonna happen. So yeah, let's just take a look at how it is. Let's look at this one first. Does it match? No. Let's put our finger on it. Let's go to the next one. Does this one match? No. Let's put our finger on it. Does this one match? Yes, it does. This one matches. Let's check the last one. This one also matches, which means these two match. We have two adjacent edges that match. That forms the hook. Ignore the corners again. So here's what you do in this situation. You have one edge pointing you and the other one pointing the right side. So it's the same algorithm as before. That brings us to the next situation, the bar, which is two opposite edges that are matching. So if we check, we see that this one does not match and this one does not match. So these two don't match. And as for these two, this one matches and wait, where does this one go? It goes over here. This one does match. So these two do match and these two don't. In this situation, you just hold the two matching edges to your right and left, and here's what you do. Same as before. So that solves the yellow cross. I know it really doesn't look like much. It doesn't look like we've made any progress, but trust me, we have. It's just going to take some time to show. This one matches. This one matches. This one matches. And this one matches. So all four match. Now let's go into solving the yellow corners. Now in solving the yellow corners, there are lots and lots of situations. You can get like a lot, and it's not always useful to like keep analyzing each one and then deciding what to do. So I just usually just do this algorithm on any random side whenever I get them. I just have like two situations which I can identify. So I'm just going to go over them with you. The rest of them, since this is exactly like the 3x3, I've explained in my detailed explanation of the 3x3. So you could check that out. So let's go over the first one, which is the cross. Basically, we have only this cross. None of the edges are actually up. So let's just see how that would look like. So if we match all these corners to their places, they won't always perfectly match, by the way. So this one we see it does not match in its place, which means it's twisted out of place. This one also does not match. This one, where does it go? This one goes here. It does not match. And this one also does not match. So none of them match. That means we have a cross. So here you just go where there's no yellow and you do this algorithm. So just to see if there's just to find a place where there's no yellow, we just need to see which way this turns. We need to be able to visualize there being three colors here and then deciding where the yellow is. So we see that this piece needs to rotate this way, which means that there's a yellow there and it's going to go up there. So there's no yellow over here. Let's check this one. This one needs to rotate this way to be matched, which means there's a yellow there and it needs to go up there. So there's no yellow here. So we can start the algorithm here in the cross. So here's what we do. Same in the 3x3. Right side clockwise, up clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, up clockwise, right side clockwise, up clockwise twice, right side anti-clockwise. That brings us to the next situation I will be explaining today, and that's the fish. It doesn't look like a fish, but it's supposed to in the 3x3. It's where only one corner is solved. Let's just search for that one. This one does not match. This one does not match. This one does not match. This one matches. So this one matches. So in this situation, you just put this towards your left and you do the algorithm here. Sometimes it doesn't get solved. You go right back to the fish. In that situation, you just repeat exactly what you did. You put the solved piece on your left and you do it again. So that solves the yellow side. So let's do that. And that solves it. I know it doesn't look like much, but yeah, if we were to match each and every piece, we see that it does match. These three match here. This piece matches here. This piece matches here. This piece matches here. This piece matches here, and this piece matches here. So all of them match. Now let's go into rearranging all the pieces. So to rearrange all the pieces, we're going to start with rearranging all the corners. So let's see which ones match and which ones don't. Not match in terms of orientation, in terms of position. So this one will be easy since we don't have to check each one individually. We just hold it in a certain position and see if they all match or not. So let's hold it this way. Do any of them match? We have only opposite ones matching. That doesn't count. We need two adjacent edges to match. In this situation, do any of them match? No. Here, two opposites. And we're back to the beginning. That's 4. So none of them match. So in this situation, you just go to any side you want and you do this algorithm. Here's what you do. It's the same as in the 3x3. Right side anti-clockwise, front clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, back anti-clockwise twice, right side clockwise, front anti-clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, back anti-clockwise twice, right side clockwise twice. So that switches 2 of the corners. That should get 2 adjacent ones to match. We have 2 matching ones. Once you get to this situation, you hold the 2 matching corners opposite to you. So we have these 2 that need to be switched. Keep them in front of you and do the same algorithm again. Let's do that real quick. You don't need to go this fast. You can just go really slow. If you're feeling confused by this, you can even slow down the video if you want. There's no problem with that. Here. Now we have all 4 that match in the same place. All 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we can go on to the last step, which is rearranging all the edges. So when solving the edges, the first situation you can get is where none of them match. So in this entire thing, we just do what we would in the Fisher cube, not the 3x3. And that's because the algorithm for the 3x3 also switches these centers. It flips them by 180 degrees. It doesn't matter in the 3x3 because those centers are symmetrical, but it does matter in the Fisher cube, which is why the algorithm for the Fisher cube works over here. I've explained the algorithm for that in my detailed video on the axis cube and Fisher cube, so you might want to check those out. But anyway, this is basically what we do is, instead of moving this once, which would flip these, we move it twice in the other direction. That doesn't really do anything because it's 3 pieces that are moved around in this algorithm. So anyway, let's go into it. So here we have none that match. Here we just go anywhere and do this algorithm. It's guaranteed to solve one of them, and then we can move on from there. So front clockwise twice, up clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, left side clockwise, front clockwise twice, right side clockwise, left side anti-clockwise, up clockwise twice, right side anti-clockwise, left side clockwise, front clockwise twice, right side clockwise, left side anti-clockwise, up clockwise once, and front clockwise twice. So as you can see, that solves this edge. Now let's go on to the rest. Now when we have this situation where only one is solved, we just put the solved edge behind us, and now we see which way this stuff needs to go. So in this situation, they all need to move in a clockwise direction. This piece needs to go there, this needs to go there, and this needs to go there. So I'll explain what to do if they all need to move anti-clockwise in a second, but now let's just do the clockwise one. So here's what you do: solve piece behind you and front clockwise twice, up anti-clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, left side clockwise, front clockwise twice, right side clockwise, left side anti-clockwise, up clockwise twice, right side anti-clockwise, left side clockwise, front clockwise twice, right side clockwise, left side anti-clockwise, up anti-clockwise, and front clockwise twice. So that solves the axis cube. Let's go into what to do if they all need to move anti-clockwise. So here all these pieces need to move anti-clockwise. So this piece needs to go there, this needs to go there, that needs to go here. So here's what we do: solved edge behind us, so anti-clockwise, right? So front clockwise twice, up clockwise, right side anti-clockwise, left side clockwise, front clockwise twice, right side clockwise, left side anti-clockwise, up clockwise twice, right side anti-clockwise, left side clockwise, front clockwise twice, right side clockwise, left side anti-clockwise, up clockwise once, and front clockwise twice. So that solves the axis cube. Congratulations if you've solved it. I hope you enjoyed this.